Hello, hello. Is life just not that deep, bro? Today we're going to be talking about this and this idea that not only are you taking life too seriously, but this really it's more than that. This philosophy or this like lifestyle of not caring or not putting stock in the things that don't don't matter, right? And I think it's a cornerstone of philosophy because that's really the most extreme counter group to just talking about the world, talking about non-tangibles. It's not that deep, bro. I mean, why would you waste your time thinking or talking about things that don't have any real tangible weight on the physical world you're living in? And especially with the video like this and many other videos similar to it, like, sure, you may take something from this and you might learn something from this video, but at the end of the day, nothing's really going to change. You're going to walk away from this, probably forget it, and not be that much different. So, is philosophy, is talking about the world, our emotions, so many other things, are we just wasting our time? Is life just not that deep? Or is there nuance to this? And is this just a extreme way to think about things? I don't know, but we'll get into it today. We'll discuss it, and we'll hopefully arrive at a conclusion at the end. If you're new here, my name is Cole, and we do lots of philosophy style videos on this channel. If you enjoy this, I'd love it if you'd subscribe or leave a comment. I'm trying to grow my community here, and I'd love you to be a part of it if you enjoy this. So, moving right on in, we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but the first thing we do, as always, is we need to define what we're talking about. So, this idea of it's not that deep, bro. Um, it's a sentiment you're hearing a lot online, probably not as much right now, but just in the past 5, 10 years. Granted, 10 years ago, people weren't saying it's not that deep, bro, but the same idea, just different wordings used. The vessel looked different, same package inside, right? um but yeah, it's this idea of like so much more than just taking life too seriously. It's really just this what you're talking about doesn't matter. Whatever this problem is in your life doesn't matter. And I think um where it kind of stems from is, I think, largely Gen Z, but even millennials and other generations as well, Gen X, being fed up or being tired of hearing things like sensationalizing headlines, or watching the news every single day and hearing the next 7 big tragedies that are going to disrupt your life and be terrible. And even going back to the original Chud Jack, not the TikTok I'm a Chud song you hear, like the original, I believe it was El Paso shooter who was then turned into a Wojak with the caption "Billions must die and nothing ever happens." Specifically, the "nothing ever happens" part is the big deal, and like, I think, I mean, that happened quite a while ago, and I think for a lot of people, obviously, I'm not supporting or condoning his actions whatsoever, but I think this sentiment that the Reddit community, the Wojak community, labeled this person with this nothing nothing ever happens, nothing really matters mentality, um is a reflection of how I think a lot of people feel. They just don't do as extreme things about it. And yeah, this idea that you watch the news and you see, the war in Iran or the Strait of Hormuz or the gas prices or this and that and the president and just uh hantavirus or the lettuce thing or just whatever going on, and you're just like, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm gonna keep doing my job, and life's gonna go on. My life probably isn't gonna look any different, regardless if I had seen those news stories or not. Maybe gas will be a little higher, but it'll go down eventually, and it'll go back up again. Because that's the way the world works, and like nothing ever happens, right? Um, Now, I'll start off by saying, like, we can kind of break this down, but I definitely think that's a overly cynic way of viewing life as a whole. Like, I kind of want to break this down into positives and negatives as a way of viewing this. I mean, the obvious positive is it's taking life from a non-serious approach, but b um from like a fundamentals approach, like very cynic, where you're not wasting time and energy worrying about um things that may or may not affect you. Like, you take the risk every morning of getting in the car and driving to work, and you could really freak out about getting into a car accident, or you could freak out about the car accident once it actually happens. But as far as you're aware, you're fine. You're going to get to work just fine. And that's how it's going to be every day after. So, no reason to worry about something that hasn't happened yet. And I think that mindset's a perfectly fine way to think. I think it's obviously good to also have, future thinking as part of your mindset and preparedness as part of your mindset, but to just not stress or overly worry about things that not only are just maybes, but are just even just far in the future for you. It's like taking things one day at a time. Now, I think that's a very overly positive way of deconstructing this mindset, and it's not necessarily true to the whole picture. Um, because I do think the whole picture is like, okay, well, it's not just bad things, it's also good things as well. Like, why do you care so much about min maxing your favorite character in a video game? Like, not only does the min maxing not really matter in the grand scheme of things when they release five new characters, later down the year that are just going to be better, like, why waste your time summoning for the new character when there's going to be a better one, right? Or why bother even playing the game because the cycle's predictable, the um, payment model is predictable, the hype model is predictable. They just threw some of your favorite characters on there as a way of getting you interested in something. And at the end of the day, like, it's just, you already know how this plays out. It's just something to gratify you and make you feel better and non essential. Your hobbies are non essential, right? Like, who cares if you really like drawing and that makes you happy? It's detracting from your work, It's your by spending time on hobbies, you are wasting time that could be used to improve yourself or for work. You're wasting money spending on that hobby. You're wasting energy. And whatever happiness you could get from this hobby, you can also get from money. So, hobbies are non essential, I think if you look at it like that, I think that also has some weight to the argument if nothing really ever happens. It's not that deep, bro. I think I think the positive and the negative here are two sides of this extreme coin of nothing ever happens. And the reality is, for a lot of people who have this mentality, they probably have ideas of both sides of this coin, and more likely than not, they're not extremist one way or the other. But just understanding all sides to this argument and the spectrum of thought of how people approach not just this way of thinking, but how people who have this mindset approach the world around them. Because it really is a sliding scale of, are you so nothing ever matters in this form of like enlightenment of this, I'm not worried, I'm not stressed, I'm purely zen, or you this ultimate doomer black pill, nothing ever happens, so I'm not even going to try, I'm not even going to care. Why should I care? You know, both sides of this coin only care about the fundamentals, but look at life very differently, right? And both sides of that coin can be wrapped up in this, it's not that deep, but clearly it is. And I especially think that I think both sides have aspects of this not that deep. But before we get into that, I think the quote I really want to read off here is um, this isn't like a specific quote for somebody, but it's kind of just like a amalgamatory statement that comes from a lot of these it's not that deep thought processes, and it's this: why waste time on non-tangibles, right? This is definitely more from that negative side of the coin. That's, why should I waste my time talking about philosophy when it's something that probably won't impact my daily life? Or if I take something away from this video or a video similar to it, I'll either forget it, or I won't care deeply about it enough, or it's just not going to resonate with me, or I'm only even watching YouTube just to pass time in the first place, or because I don't like being in a silent room and I just need noise in the background, Um, so like, why waste time on non-tangibles? Because like, specifically narrowing it down to non-tangibles is a lot less extreme than saying like, don't even waste time on your hobbies, don't even waste time on things that aren't essential to living, fundamental to, the innate human experience. This is more so just saying like, why waste time on things that, you know aren't physical to your living, right? And I think that's just a really short-sighted argument. I think the negative side of that is, not only are you undermining the joys of life, but I feel like it's borderline willful ignorance. This idea of it's not even worth talking about because it's not tangible, completely robs you of joy. Like, where's the whimsy in imagining? What's the where's your whimsy in deep thought, right? It's important to be able to pull yourself out of your daily life and be able to think about the world around you, to be able to dream a little, and not just dream, but think a little. Think outside of your daily 9 to 5 and think about abstracts. It's a good thought experiment that will, help you learn more about yourself and the world around you. And that's why I think it's like borderline willful ignorance. It's like, I'm choosing not to explore. I'm choosing not to spend time in abstracts because I have this preconceived notion that it's not even worth my time. This idea that you're not even giving something a chance. You're judging the book by its cover because you just think it's silly. You just think it's silly and you think it's not worth your time. And so it's not worth it to you. And that, I think, is willful ignorance. Taking a break here from the it's not that deep side, kind of looking at the it is that deep side, right? Let's play devil's advocate for a moment. Look at the other side of the coin for a second, right? And I think a lot of the arguments that can be made are really just the inverse of, I mean, obviously they're just the inverse of kind of what we were talking about previous, where the positives of, really thinking life is that deep, putting a lot of water into every conversation, every thought, every feeling you have, is you really get the joy of self exploration and the joy of learning. Um, I think one of my favorite like physical examples of this is people watching. Like not in a creepy way, but like if you're in like a really busy street or a busy city or a college campus and you're just sitting at a park bench or you're just at a bus stop and you're just watching life go on around you without really thinking about or honing in on anything in specific, um letting your mind kind of wander and explore and think, and you may see somebody walk by for a moment and talk on the phone, and you get just this tiny snippet, this glimpse into this person's life, and it makes you think, why are they talking about that? Why do they look sad? Why do they look happy? Do they look rushed to work, or are they even going to work? Where are they going? And yeah, none of this is really that deep. None of it's that important. I mean, the whole concept of people watching is just kind of aimlessly wasting your time to, observe the world around you. But looking at it through that lens defeats the beauty of it, which is letting the mind wander and explore and imagine. And above all, learn. That's the most important above all, is the constant want for knowledge, for discovery. I think the obvious negative for this argument is, well, if you think everything is really that deep, you're going to be pretty overwhelmed pretty quick, right? If you think everything is just that important, just that worth spending time on, just that worth to put all your time and energy and brain power to, you're going to get burnt out quickly. You're probably going to be a high stress person, and you're going to be a person without a lot of answers. The world's just not going to make a lot of sense to you because you're too busy not understanding why it's not making sense to you, right? And so I think the very, very obvious concession to make, not just with the pro it's that deep, or the, against it's not that deep, I think the overall concession to make for this entire argument, and kind of my um segueing into my final thoughts of this argument as a whole, is like, I mean, I say this in almost every video, but moderation and nuance is kind of the answer for most things, right? I think there's a lot of value to be had on both sides of this flipped coin. I think exploring both sides, um, picking out, I guess, the things you like and the things you don't like, has merit to it. And at the very least, understanding why people think the way they do, even if you don't agree with it. If you don't agree in the ultimate black pill doomer mindset, you need to at least spend some time and think about, well, why are they a doomer? Why do they black pill? Why do they think like this? Why do they not even try or care about anything in the world? And it's like, well, put yourself on their shoes. Try and have empathy for their experience and understand where they're coming from. Their argument makes a lot more sense whenever you do that. Not necessarily saying I fully agree with it, but understanding it now makes you a far more aware person. It allows you to approach arguments and uh, situations a lot more informed, right? And at the cornerstone of all of these conversations, learning is key. Um, Learning is just as key as nuance and moderation is. Because, yeah, I mean, the real ultimate takeaway is that there's two sides to every coin. And no matter how many times you flip a coin, you're never gonna land on heads every time. The extremist, I'm only gonna be one side of the coin. It's just not the answer. It's just not the case. It's just not realistic. It's just not right. There's nuance to every argument, and every situation requires a balance. Not to overly repeat myself, but there's merits up to both sides. And I think my personal opinion, my personal where I stand, where am I on the sliding scales of Zen to Doomer? I think life needs whimsy and joy and exploration. And I definitely think I lean more on the it is that deep um than I do it's not that deep, because at the end of the day, if I thought life wasn't that deep, I wouldn't be making videos like this. I wouldn't be sitting here talking about non-tangibles. Not would I, right? Um, yeah, I think that kind of wraps us up. If you enjoyed this video, I was Cole. Um, I hope you will stick around and join me for some future videos. This is a very small channel, and I'm really trying to grow a community here. So I'd love it if you stick around. If you write a comment, not only will I absolutely see it and respond to it, but you are more than welcome to suggest what my next video topic might be. I'm a very open book and will talk about almost anything within reason. So yeah. I hope y'all enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day. Keep learning.